Minimum wage is not where most people imagine their life ending up. For some people, it is a first job. For others, it is a reset, a difficult year, a family responsibility, a gap between what they wanted and what they had to accept. A job taken because rent did not wait. Food did not wait. Life did not wait. At first, you tell yourself it is temporary. Just for now. Just until something better comes. Just until the situation settles. Just until you figure things out. But weeks become months. Months become years. And without noticing it, the job that was supposed to help you survive a season starts shaping the size of your whole life. You begin to plan around less, expect less, risk less, dream less. Not because you stopped wanting more, but because the wage trains you to live carefully. That is life on minimum wage. Not always dramatic, not always visible, but always tight. It is checking the price before you say yes. It is pretending you are not hungry because buying food out would break the budget. It is making one pair of shoes last longer than it should. It is hoping nothing breaks this month. It is ignoring the strange noise in the car. It is delaying the dentist. It is keeping the old phone alive with a cracked screen because replacement is not just a purchase. It is a decision that affects everything else. Life becomes full of small calculations nobody else can see. And this is what makes minimum wage hard to explain. From the outside, people see the job. They see the uniform, the shift, the pay, the routine. But they do not always see the mental load. They do not see the constant negotiation. Can this wait? Can I stretch this? Can I work one more shift? Can I make this last until payday? Can I handle one more problem without borrowing? That is the hidden weight. Minimum wage does not just limit money. It limits room. Room for error. Room for rest. Room for risk. Room for the future. And when there is no room, every small problem becomes louder. A missed shift is not just a missed shift. It is a hole in the month. A broken appliance is not just inconvenient. It is a threat. A delayed payment is not just annoying. It becomes a chain reaction. One thing goes wrong, then another thing gets delayed. Then something goes on a credit card. Then the credit card becomes normal. Then the minimum payment becomes part of the month. And slowly, a temporary problem turns into a permanent payment. This is how the trap forms, not in one dramatic moment, but quietly, one compromise at a time. The trap is not just earning a low wage. The trap is building a whole life around a low wage. The trap is when your bills assume you earn more than you do. The trap is when your payments arrive before your choices do. The trap is when every month starts already crowded. The trap is when you work hard, but nothing moves. And perhaps the hardest part is this. Minimum wage can make you tired in a way that makes escape harder. Because escaping requires energy, applications, training, planning, confidence, interviews, awkward conversations, starting again. And when your whole life is built around getting through the next week, the future can start to feel like a luxury. So the first escape is not financial. It is mental. You have to stop treating minimum wage as an identity. It is a situation. It is a season. It is a starting point. It may be your reality right now, but it is not your limit. Because one of the most dangerous things about low pay is that it can shrink your view of yourself. You start thinking, this is all I could do. This is just what I earn. This is just what people like me get. And those thoughts can become walls, not because they are true, but because you live inside them long enough and made it your identity. Now, the escape begins when you stop asking, "How do I survive this forever?" and start asking, "What is the next move that makes this less permanent?" Not the perfect move, not the glamorous move, the next move. Because escaping minimum wage usually does not happen in one leap. It happens in layers. First, you reduce the panic. Then you reduce the payments. Then you increase your options. Then you increase your income. Then you start building wealth. That is the order, and it matters. The first layer is reducing panic, because panic is expensive. That is why you need a buffer, an emergency fund that you can use when an unexpected expenses arrives, a small amount of money that stands between you and panic. The first few £100 can change how a problem feels. It does not make life easy, but it gives you a moment to breathe before making a decision. The first wall is not there to make you rich. It is there to stop life from pushing you backwards. The second layer is finding the leaks. Not because cutting small things magically solves low pay, but because every leak makes escape slower. And when income is tight, leaks matter. So, for 1 month, do not judge yourself. Just watch. Where does the money actually go? What payments repeat? What costs are genuine needs? What costs are just the price of not having a system? And when you look closely, you may find something important. Some spending gives relief, some spending builds escape, and some costs are only there because you forgot they existed. Relief is not evil. Sometimes after a long shift, you need something that makes the day feel less heavy. But if every spare pound buys relief, nothing is left to build escape. Escape money is different. Escape money protects you. Escape money clears debt. Escape money buys a course, a license, a certificate, a tool, an application fee, a driving lesson. Escape money does not always feel exciting, but it changes what is possible next. Relief helps you get through the week. Escape helps you make sure every week does not look the same. The third layer is breaking the payment trap. This is where many people get stuck, because payments make things feel affordable. A phone feels affordable because it is monthly. A car feels affordable because it is monthly. Buy now, pay later feels harmless because the first payment is small. But minimum wage makes monthly payments dangerous, not because every payment is bad, but because each one takes a piece of the future before the future arrives. And when too many pieces are already promised away, your life becomes hard to move. This is why debt has to be taken seriously, especially high-interest debt. A debt balance is not just money owed. It is future pay already spoken for, future shifts, future weekends, future overtime, future choices. The lower the income, the heavier that debt becomes, because it takes more working time to remove it. So the goal is not only to pay debt, the goal is to buy back your future. Every balance reduced gives your next month more room. Every payment removed makes the exit wider. Every interest charge avoided keeps more of your work in your own life. You do not escape minimum wage by adding more chains to a small income. You escape by removing chains first. The fourth layer is where the real escape begins. Income. Instead of asking, "How do I make this wage enough forever?" ask, "What can this wage help me reach next?" A better employer, a different department, a supervisor route, an apprenticeship, a trade, a license, a certificate, a driving qualification, warehouse licenses, sales, a skill that pays more because it solves a more valuable problem. This is where hard work and strategy separate. Hard work says, "I will do more hours." Strategy asks, "What will these extra hours buy me?" Hard work says, "I will stay loyal." Strategy asks, "Can this place actually reward loyalty?" Hard work says, "I just need more money." Strategy asks, what skill would make someone pay me more? Hard work matters, but hard work inside a low-ceiling job can become a treadmill. You move, you sweat, you get tired, but you do not travel very far. The goal is not simply to work harder. The goal is to make sure your effort points somewhere. Extra shifts should not only help you survive. When possible, they should buy your exit. This might mean using overtime for a limited period to clear a dangerous debt. It might mean saving for a course. It might mean taking a less comfortable step into a field with more progression. It might mean asking someone one step ahead of you exactly how they got there. It might mean being willing to feel like a beginner again. That part is uncomfortable. But staying stuck is uncomfortable too. The difference is that one discomfort repeats, the other can lead somewhere. And no, the next job does not have to be perfect. It just has to have a higher ceiling. That is the key. If one role pays slightly more, teaches something useful, gives better hours, offers training, or leads to the next step, it may be part of the escape. Not the dream, the next rung. Many people stay stuck because they wait for the perfect door. But escape often begins with a door that is simply better than the one you are standing in front of. You do not need the whole staircase. You need the next rung. The fifth layer is building systems. Because motivation is unreliable, especially when you are tired. You will not always feel inspired after work. You will not always make perfect decisions. So the system has to carry some of the weight. A separate savings account, a small automatic transfer on payday, a weekly check of spending, a rule before taking on any new payment, a folder for job applications, a set time each week to learn one skill, a pension contribution if available, a tiny investment once the basics can hold. Small systems protect you from needing to become a different person overnight. This is important because many people think change has to feel dramatic. But real escape usually looks boring while it is happening. A canceled payment, a debt balance lower than last month, a saved £100, a completed application, a quiet evening spent learning, a certificate finished, a better interview, a new job offer, a small investment. None of these moments looks like a movie scene. But together, they change the direction of a life. And eventually, once the panic is lower, the debt is lighter, and the income has room to grow, wealth building becomes more realistic. That is when investing matters more. Not because investing was unimportant before, but because now it has ground to stand on. A small investment habit can begin early. But the bigger transformation happens when the income improves and the habit is already there. Because then, every raise does not disappear. Every better month does not become lifestyle inflation. Every increase can be split. Some for a better life now, some for security, some for ownership. That is how a person moves from only selling time to slowly owning assets. The goal is not to look rich. The goal is to become harder to trap. Harder to trap by emergencies. Harder to trap by debt. Harder to trap by bad employers. Harder to trap by social pressure. Harder to trap by the belief that this is all you can have. That is what wealth means at the beginning. Not luxury, not status, not impressing people. Options. The option to say no. The option to leave. The option to wait. The option to handle a problem without panic. The option to think beyond payday. That is the first form of freedom. So life on minimum wage is not just a money problem. It is a room problem. The room is too small, too little margin, too little rest, too little future. And the escape is not pretending the room is comfortable. The escape is building the door. First, reduce the panic. Then, find the leaks. Then, remove the payment traps. Then, use the wage to fund the next rung. Then, build systems that keep working when motivation fades. Then, turn stability into ownership. That is the path. Not easy, not instant, not glamorous, but real. And maybe the most important part is this. Do not let the world convince you that starting small means staying small. Minimum wage can be a beginning. It can be a reset. It can be a season. It can be the place where you learn pressure, discipline, and what you never want to repeat. But it should not become the final shape of your life without a fight. Because the danger is not starting at the bottom. The danger is being trained to stop looking up. So, if you are there now, start with the next rung. Not the perfect plan, the next rung. Build the first wall, find the leak, cancel the chain, apply for the better role, learn the useful skill, ask about the route up, protect the money before it disappears, invest when the foundation can hold it, and keep moving. One decision at a time, one less payment at a time, one better skill at a time, one higher ceiling at a time. Life on minimum wage can feel like standing in a room with no windows. But a room is not the same as a prison if you are building the door. And the day you stop treating minimum wage as your identity, the escape has already begun.